The sunlight bathed Central Park in golden hues as families and tourists reveled in the promise of a perfect day. The summer sun generously spilled over the park's lush green lawn, while parents pushed swings and dogs chased frisbees with contagious enthusiasm. In this scene of carefree joy, Ralph Miller felt like a stranger to his own blood. His daughter Jillian, who remained detached from the world, ensnared by the bright screen of her phone. "How about a game of soccer, Jillian?" Ralph tried for the umpteenth time, pointing to a group of teenagers enjoying a friendly match. "You used to love playing, remember?" Jillian simply shook her head without looking up. "No, Dad, I'm not in the mood," she muttered, her voice lost in the digital cacophony that only she could hear. Undeterred, Ralph continued, "Okay, no problem. How about a board game then? I brought your favorite, Conquest of the Empires." He opened his backpack and displayed the colorful box, hopeful. This time Jillian looked up, a glint of exasperation visible. "Dad, that's so childish. I'm not 5 years old anymore." Ralph's enthusiasm waned a bit, but he refused to succumb to disappointment. "Jillian, Conquest is a strategy game. You've always been good at it, planning, anticipating opponents' moves." She sighed, long and deep, as if the weight of the world rested on her youthful shoulders. "That was before Dad. Now I prefer digital strategies." He put the game back into his backpack, clearing his throat. "All right, how about a walk then? We can go to the lake, feed the ducks like we used to." Jillian finally turned off the screen, looking at Ralph with eyes seemingly blind to the beauty around her. "I really don't understand you. Why do you insist so much? I'm perfectly happy here, alone with my phone." Ralph sat down beside her, clasping his hands and gazing at the horizon where the city met the sky. "Because, Jillian, this," he gestured around, "is real. The sun on your skin, the wind, the laughter. Of that you can experience through a screen. It not enough for me. Dad, friends are here," said, touching the phone as if it were a talisman. "Your friends are there." Ralph pointed to the phone. "But I am here and I miss you." An uncomfortable silence settled between them, heavy and laden with unspoken words. Jillian looked at her father, the man who had always been there, even when she closed herself off from the world. "Dad," she began, her voice trembling. I don't know if I can anymore. It's all so different now." Ralph turned to her, his blue eyes reflecting the purity of the sky. "Jillian, the world changes, yes, but some things should remain. Like spending time with the ones we love, don't you think?" Jillian ignored her father and went back to fiddling with her phone. All their encounters were like this, a battle between Ralph and the cell phone for his daughter's attention, and Ralph usually lost that battle. The park was teeming with life, a vibrant microcosm of colors and sounds. Children laughed and ran, couples strolled hand in hand, and ice cream vendors announced their flavors with cheerful songs. However, for Jillian, the real world felt muted, distant, as she slid her fingers over the cold, smooth surface of her cell phone. The bright screen was a window to a universe where she was omnipotent and omnipresent, liking, commenting, living a life in a digital realm. But then, without warning, the screen flickered and went dark, and the device in her hands became nothing more than a rectangle of plastic and metal. She pressed the power button repeatedly, despair growing with each futile click. No, this can't be happening now," she muttered, her voice a mixture of disbelief and panic. Ralph, who had been watching closely, offered a sympathetic smile and a nod of understanding. "Battery died, huh? I thought this might happen. So what? So you brought me to this place where I can't even charge my phone," Jillian interrupted. Her face flushed with frustration. "You knew this would happen, didn't you? You planned all of this." Ralph raised his hands in a pacifying gesture. "Jillian, I just thought a day in the park might be good for us." "Good for you maybe," she accused him, her words sharp and hot like sparks from a fire. "You never think about me, do you? It's just what you want. You drag me out here to this place and expect me to be happy here without my phone?" The accusation hit Ralph like a physical blow, making him step back. Jillian, I just wanted to spend quality time with my daughter. I didn't expect your phone to turn off, but honestly, I'm a little glad it did. It might give us a chance to really talk. Talk. Jillian's anger simmered, forming dark clouds on her once sunny expression. And what would we have to talk about? Huh? Like how my digital life is important to me and how you think it's a waste of time. Ralph looked around, realizing that some people nearby were starting to cast curious glances their way. He tried to lower the volume of their conversation. Come on, Jillian, don't make a scene. Let's find a place to sit and... A scene? Jillian nearly yelled. I'm making a scene because I'm frustrated that you can't understand one simple thing. My phone is important to me. It's where my friends are. It's where my life is. But it's not where your family is, Jillian. It's not where I am, Ralph said, his voice filled with a sadness he could no longer conceal. Jillian looked at her father, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I don't understand why you can't let me enjoy the things I like in my own way. Ralph Miller's heart was in tatters. His daughter Jillian's accusation that he was selfish had pierced the armor of patience and hope he wore as a father. He had envisioned a day in the park filled with laughter and rekindled memories, but all that remained now was the sense of a lost battle. With a heavy sigh that carried the weight of unfulfilled paternal longing, he reluctantly agreed to give up the carefully planned day. Okay, Jillian, he said, his voice low and defeated. Let's go home. Jillian, though still simmering with irritation, felt a twinge of guilt seeing her father's dejected expression. She had her pride, but she wasn't heartless. Dad, she began, but her words faltered, suffocated by the complexity of the emotions warring within her. Walking toward the park exit, the silence between them was heavy, laden with unspoken words and restrained emotions. It was then that Jillian spotted Emily, an old school friend, sitting alone on a bench gazing into emptiness. Emily, Jillian approached, curious and cautious. What are you doing here all alone? Emily looked up, and Jillian was shocked to see the sadness in her eyes. Oh, Jillian, it's you, Emily murmured. I'm just here remembering my dad. Ralph, who had followed his daughter with a worried look, also approached, but kept a respectful distance. Jillian sat down next to Emily, her own heart suddenly squeezed. What happened to your dad, Emily? Emily sighed and a lone tear rolled down her cheek. He passed away 2 months ago. A car accident. And all I can think about is how I didn't cherish the time we had together. I was always busy, always somewhere else. Emily's words hit Jillian like a gut punch. She turned to look at her own father, who was watching her with a concerned and unconditional love. I would give anything, Emily continued, to have just one more day with him, to tell him how much I love him, how much he means to me. But I can't. And now it's too late. Emily went on. My dad and I used to come here when I was little. He'd put me on his shoulders and we'd run through the fields, him pretending to be my horse. I would laugh so much I could hardly ask him to go faster, she recalled, a trembling smile forming on her face. Jillian, sitting beside her, watched the nostalgia in Emily's eyes, feeling the resonance of every word. Emily's sadness was almost tangible, as if the park's breeze carried with it echoes of laughter and conversations that were once shared between father and daughter. You were really close to him, weren't you? Jillian asked, her voice a respectful whisper. He was my hero, my rock, Emily replied, her eyes welling up. And I took it for granted. I always thought we'd have more time. Jillian's breath caught. I'm so sorry, Emily, she whispered, her mind reeling with the sudden realization of the preciousness of time, of a father's love that she had rejected moments ago. Ralph, who had come close enough to overhear the conversation, felt a sharp pain in his chest. He knew the pain of losing someone. He had lost Jillian's mother years ago. The idea of his daughter experiencing that pain was unbearable to him. Jillian, he said gently, and she looked at him with new eyes. I'll always be here for you as long as I can. But the as long as I can isn't forever. Jillian got up and walked over to him, embracing him tightly. I know, Dad, I know. I'm sorry for everything. Emily watched a sad but satisfied smile on her lips. Treasure it, Jillian. Treasure every second. Dad, Jillian called out. I want to stay. Ralph turned to her, surprised. Stay. Yes, stay. In the park. With you. Jillian affirmed each word a brick in the bridge she wanted to rebuild between them. I want to play soccer. I want to do all those things you suggested. I want to be here, present, with you. Ralph looked at her, a slow and hopeful smile spreading across his face. Are you sure, Jillian? Jillian nodded firmly, her eyes shining with newfound determination. I've never been more sure of anything. I was wrong, Dad. I was so focused on my own world that I forgot how important our time together is. Ralph opened his arms and Jillian nestled into them, their embrace a silent promise. I love you, Dad, and I'm so sorry. I love you too, my girl, and there's no need to apologize, he said, his voice choked with emotion. Jillian bid farewell to Emily, put away her phone, and walked with Ralph to the field where a group of kids were playing soccer. Ralph then kicked the ball with an awkward but enthusiastic touch, and Jillian laughed, a genuine and liberating laughter she hadn't heard in a long time. You still know how to kick a ball, huh? She teased, skillfully dribbling the ball between her feet. Ralph laughed too, chasing after her. You can bet on it, Jillian, and I'll show you how to score a real goal. And so father and daughter played, laughed, and shared a moment that, in its simplicity, became grand. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, a farewell painting for the day Jillian and Ralph would never forget. Emily watched from afar, a sad but contented smile adorning her face. Cherish every second, she whispered to herself, knowing that those moments would be the treasures Jillian would hold in her heart forever. The sky, painted with strokes of light blue and adorned by soft clouds, bore witness to the rebirth of a precious relationship in the heart of Central Park. Jillian and her father, Ralph, after a morning of tension and harsh words, discovered a rare harmony in the simplicity of games and genuine laughter. Look, Dad, I still know how it done, exclaimed Jillian, spinning with the grace of a dancer before kicking the soccer ball straight between two trees which served as makeshift goalposts. Her laughter, so rare and restrained in recent years, now sounded with the freedom of a bird in flight. Ralph, with a smile that lit up his face more than the midday sun, applauded enthusiastically. That's it, Jillian. I knew you still had that talent, he shouted back as he ran to retrieve the ball, feeling the years of distance between them dissolve with every step. As the afternoon unfolded, father and daughter allowed themselves to be carried away by the carefree pleasure of games. They competed in sack races, immersed themselves in mind-challenging chess matches, and engaged in a flying frisbee, laughing each time one of them made a comical face while trying to catch the spinning disc. I didn't remember how good it felt to just play, confessed Jillian, breathless and joyful after an intense frisbee chase. Ralph, flopping onto the grass beside her, replied, sometimes all we need is to forget the world out there and just be ourselves, together. The park, which hours earlier had been a backdrop of silences and frustrated glances, now resonated with the sound of their laughter, the sweetest music any bird could sing. The trees seemed to bend in a protective embrace, and the flowers appeared to bloom to the rhythm of their joy. As the daylight began to give way to the gentle twilight, Jillian and Ralph sat on a bench, watching the golden reflection of the sun on the tranquil waters of the park lake. You know, Dad, Jillian began, I learned something today. I learned that no matter how many likes I get online, nothing compares to the time I spend with you. Ralph, looking at her with a mixture of pride and emotion, responded, that's the kind of like that's worth it, Jillian. The time we spend together is our live album of memories. It doesn't need any filters. They shared a comfortable silence, listening to the last sounds of the day and feeling the cool evening breeze. Jillian, with her head resting on her father's shoulder, felt a deep gratitude for that moment of peace, for his presence, for the life they had together. I love you, Dad, she said softly, for everything. Ralph hugged her with one arm. I love you too, my girl, for everything you are and everything you'll always be. Their story, woven with the pain of distance and the joy of reunion, concluded with a powerful message that echoed through the park and reached the hearts of all those around them. Life is made of moments, moments that when shared with love become eternal in their fleetingness. And for Jillian and Ralph, these precious moments were now eternal, engraved not in stone, but in the unbreakable fabric of family love. The audience, a tapestry of strangers who watched and listened, carried with them a silent yet powerful lesson. That time is the most valuable gift we can give and receive, and we should spend it wisely and with love. This was the story. Thank you for watching up to this point, and until next time.